welcome to the Explainer. So today we're talking about identity. And I don't just mean your driver's license or your passport. I mean the very core of who you are. Because right now, as we're diving headfirst into this new age of immersive worlds and AI, our entire sense of self, well, it's about to get a radical upgrade. Let's break down what that really means for you. Just let that sink in for a second. This isn't some far-off sci-fi movie plot. This happened back in 2018. We're talking about technology that can literally pull thoughts out of a person's head and put them on a screen. This is the world of brain-computer interfaces, or BCIs, where that line between our minds and machines is just dissolving. The potential is incredible, right? I mean, imagine giving a voice back to someone who lost it. But it also opens up a whole can of worms and forces us to ask some seriously deep questions about our own minds. And that, right there, is the question, isn't it? As our own consciousness becomes the next digital frontier, who gets the keys? Who's in control? And who's going to profit from the data streaming straight from our brains? You know, when your thoughts, your memories, your intentions are all just data points, who gets to write the terms of service for your own mind? It's a question we have to answer. And honestly, we need to answer it like yesterday. Okay, so to really get to the bottom of all this, here's our game plan. We're going to start by looking at the incredible promise of our next digital reality. Then, we'll uncover the identity crisis that's kind of brewing under the surface. From there, we'll get into these slightly terrifying ways your mind can be hacked. And finally, and this is the hopeful part, we're going to look at the revolutionary tech and the new human rights being built to help you take back control and build a future we can all trust. First up, our next digital reality. Look, we're not just talking about another software update here. This is a wave of technology that is genuinely poised to redefine, well, everything. How we work, how we play, how we connect with the world and with each other. I mean, the advances are just breathtaking. We're building these fully immersive worlds, the metaverse, where a surgeon can practice a complex operation over and over, or a student can literally walk the streets of ancient Rome. And what's powering all this? AI agents, crafting these experiences that are personalized to our every whim. But the real game changer is the brain-computer interface. We've already seen a tetraplegic person kick off the World Cup using nothing but a mind-controlled exoskeleton. Get this, another quadriplegic man drove a Formula One car in a simulator using only his thoughts. And then you've got companies like Elon Musk's Neuralink, which are trying to put chips in our brains to link us directly to computers, aiming for what they call superhuman cognition. Wild stuff. But, and this is a big but, this amazing future is being built on a really cracked foundation. Which brings us to Section 2, the identity crisis. The way we handle who we are online right now, it's not just unprepared for this new world, it's a ticking time bomb. The whole system is basically broken, and it's about to be put under a kind of pressure it was never, ever designed for. So here's the core of the problem. It all comes down to centralized versus decentralized identity. Right now, we live in a totally centralized world. Your bank, Google, the government, they each hold a little piece of your identity in their own giant separate databases. You don't actually own it, you're just borrowing it. And what does that do? It makes those databases these huge glowing targets for hackers. Now, the decentralized model, it flips the whole script. You, the individual, you own your identity. Your data lives in a secure, encrypted digital wallet on your phone, and you decide what to share and with who. It puts you back in the driver's seat. And let's be crystal clear about the stakes here. This openware report, it just hits the nail on the head. This centralized model isn't just a weakness, it's a time bomb. Think about it. Every massive data breach you've ever heard about, Equifax, social media hacks, you name it, it's all a direct result of this one flawed design. We're just handing over the keys to our digital lives, creating hundreds of accounts, and then just crossing our fingers and hoping every single one of those companies has perfect security. That's not a strategy. That's just wishful thinking. This slide just paints the perfect picture, doesn't it? There you are, right in the middle. But just look around you. Manufacturers, app developers, all these third-party services, they're all grabbing and storing your data in their own little boxes. Every click, every search, every like gets logged. In this system, you're not the customer, you're the product. Your data is the thing being bought and sold. And a lot of the time, we don't even know what's happening. And this brings us to our third section, which is where things get really, really personal. Your mind is hackable. I mean, if you think the data that's being collected on you right now is invasive, just you wait. We are about to shift from collecting data about what you do to collecting data about who you are. To really get the risk here, you got to look at the new kinds of data being collected. This immersive tech needs a constant fire hose of super intimate data just to work. We're talking biometric data, like the unique way you walk and move, spatial data, literally a 3D map of the inside of your home, behavioral data from eye tracking, which reveals not just what you look at, but what you subconsciously pay attention to. And from that, companies can make scarily accurate guesses about how you're feeling. And then, the final frontier. With neurotech, they could potentially access your brain data, the raw signals of your thoughts. This isn't your search history. This is the source code of your soul. And if you want to see just how powerful this can be, check out this real experiment. Scientists used a BCI to watch a mouse's brain while it was eating, and they found the exact neural circuit for that action. Then, they used that same BCI to send a little signal back to stimulate that same circuit. The result? It was startling. The mouse was basically forced to eat again, even when it wasn't hungry. They created an impulse that the mouse could not fight. They literally hijacked its will. The implication here is, well, it's chilling. And the experts at the Center for International Relations and Sustainable Development, they say it plainly. What can be done with mice today could be done with humans tomorrow. Just imagine that power in the hands of advertisers, or political campaigns, or worse, authoritarian governments. The ability not just to persuade you, but to actually manipulate your decisions on a neurological level. This is the ultimate threat to our own freedom.
That is a pretty dark thought, but the story doesn't end there, not by a long shot, which brings us to Section 4, Reclaiming Your Digital Self. See, as these new threats are popping up, a whole set of powerful technologies is being built specifically to fight back, to build a new digital foundation that puts control right back where it belongs, with you.
Okay, so the big idea here, the main principle, is called self-sovereign identity, or SSI. It's actually a pretty simple but totally radical idea. You, and only you, should own and control your digital identity. Not some company, not the government, you. It's this massive shift that says your identity is not a product. All the little pieces of it, your name, your age, your degrees, they all get stored securely in a digital wallet that only you have the key to. So, how does this actually work in the real world? Well, the key building block is something called verifiable credentials. Just think of them as digital, fraud-proof versions of the cards in your physical wallet. Your university issues you a verifiable diploma, the DMV issues a verifiable driver's license, and boom, they go into your secure digital wallet. And that word verifiable is super important. It means they're cryptographically signed by whoever issued them, so they're basically impossible to fake.
But here's where it gets really cool. Here's the magic ingredient, the cryptographic superpower, zero knowledge proofs, or ZKPs. And yeah, this is a bit of a mind-bending concept. It's a way for you to prove that a fact is true without actually revealing the secret data that proves it. It lets you answer a question without giving away the answer. This completely shatters the old way of doing things, where to prove one thing, you had to reveal 5 other things about yourself.
Let's make this super simple. Imagine you're trying to get into a bar. The old way, you hand over your ID. The bouncer sees your name, your address, your date of birth, how much you weigh, everything. With ZKPs, it's totally different. The bar's scanner just asks your digital wallet one question. Is this person over 21? Your wallet uses your verifiable ID to generate a mathematically perfect proof that just says, yes. That's it. The bouncer gets the confirmation they need, and you just shared the absolute bare minimum amount of information. It's a revolution for privacy. Now, this amazing technology, it's only half the battle. A tool is only as good as the rules we make to manage it. And that brings us to our final section, building a trustworthy future. To really, truly protect ourselves, we have to build new legal and social rules for this new world. Because the challenge from neurotechnology is so profound, human rights experts are actually pushing for a whole new class of human rights called neurorights. This includes things like the right to identity, to protect your sense of self from being messed with, the right to agency, which is basically free will, the right to mental privacy, so you can keep your thoughts your own, the right to fair access, so this tech doesn't just create a new superclass of humans. And this one is huge, the right to protection from algorithmic bias, to make sure your own brain data isn't used to discriminate against you for a job or a loan. Countries like Chile and Spain are already writing laws about this, creating a blueprint for the rest of us. Of course, none of this is going to be easy. There are some major hurdles. Legally, a lot of our current data laws, like GDPR, were built for that old centralized world, and they just don't fit a decentralized one. technically, we have to make sure all these new identity systems can talk to each other, so we don't just trade in the old corporate data silos for new blockchain ones. And, maybe the biggest challenge of all is just education. We all need to understand how this stuff works, digital wallets, verifiable credentials, so we can embrace it and, frankly, start demanding it.
Because when you get right down to it, what we're talking about here is so much more than just a new app or a better password. It is a fundamental paradigm shift. It's a complete rethinking of who holds the power in our digital lives. It's about building an infrastructure for trust that's based on privacy and individual consent. It's our chance to finally move away from a world where we're the product to a world where we are the owners. Which really just leaves us with one last massive question. That line between us and our technology, it's getting blurrier every single day. As our devices become part of our bodies, and maybe even our minds, the stakes have just never been higher. The fight for control over our digital identity and maybe our mental identity is happening right now. The real question for all of us is, who do we want writing the terms of service?